Hi, it's Sean, and I just watched Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, or I guess it's just called Obi-Wan Kenobi, on Disney Plus. And here are my quick first impressions of this very first episode of Obi-Wan. I was sort of dreading watching this, like a lot of fans of my age, I suppose. And let me just say, like, I'm a Star Wars fan from way back, from the very beginning of Star Wars. I was born maybe about a couple weeks after the original Star Wars came out. So I was born right into the hype of Star Wars. Star Wars was ubiquitous. It was on TV all the time. All of the merchandise was everywhere, and whenever someone could make a quick buck, like we had a hardware store about a block away from us, and they were selling, they had an end cap of Star Wars figures because, hey, if you can make a few bucks off this craze, do it. The Star Wars craze lasted up till about 83, 84, around there, about a year or so after Return of the Jedi, and the hype was sort of dying out, but there was still TV movies, TV cartoons, etc. And I was totally into all of it. So I love the deep roots of Star Wars, the pulp roots of it, the pulp magazine roots, the serial roots, like the old movie serials, old science fiction, etc. So that's what I'm looking for when I watch a Star Wars anything. And Obi-Wan, now everything I'm going to say is probably going to sound negative. That doesn't mean that I hate this show. It just means that I am indifferent to. I don't hate the show. I think it's okay. I think it's just okay. I think that's its problem though. So on this first episode, my first impressions are it looks cheap. I get that this is a quote unquote TV show, but it's on Disney Plus. Disney has lots of money to spare. They hired Hayden Christensen. They hired Ewan McGregor. This should look better than it does. It just comes across as sort of cheap to me. Now, I'm not disparaging Star Trek, but it looks like 90s Star Trek episodes, where most of the characters are human. They're on Tatooine for a lot of it, and Tatooine was always depicted as a hub where humans and aliens and all sorts of terrific creatures hung out. And here it's all humans in bathrobes, just like walking around with hoods and stuff. And it just looks sort of cheapy, they show some of Alderaan, and Alderaa's just like woods and like dudes in more bathrobes. I don't know why robes and things is the Star Wars motif of clothes, but I guess it is now. Uh, it looks kind of cheap. If I think back, I'll give this example about like cheapness in that when I was a kid, they made two TV Ewok movies. They were live action movies. It was Caravan of Courage and Battle for Endor, and those movies, yes, they were network television movies, so they were cheap, but they had a big budget mindset in that almost every character was a dude in a costume. Every character was a creature rather than a human. The main villain of the first movie was a giant creature, like a giant monster. They didn't have to do that. They didn't say, you know what, let's just make it a human guy. No, they didn't have to do that, but they did it. They did it. They said, damn the budget, we're still going to do it. Everyone in the second movie were guys in masks and costumes, and they were creatures. And they just had this mindset of we're making a fantasy thing, so let's have as many creatures and aliens as possible and make this look awesome. That mindset hasn't carried forward into current Star Wars. It looks cheaper and cheaper. That galactic cruise thing that they have at Star Wars sort of shows that, but also this show, which should be their best face, in that they have these big stars, so a lot of people are going to watch it, and it looks less and less fantastical and celebratory of the whole Star Wars excitement, right? So also I felt it was slowly paced. It's fairly slow. I mean, this episode was about an hour long. Um, you know, it just doesn't seem like a lot of forward momentum. But anyways, by the end of this episode, Obi-Wan is off on his big quest. Ewan McGregor is cool. With the material he has to work with, he's all like, "Oh, I'm not the man I used to be," and all this stuff. And of course, he has to be in order to, run off and go quest and all that stuff. Everyone has made a big deal about the Inquisitors, especially Revan, and there's all this sort of hesitancy and paranoia that they'll do a bait and switch, and this is really Revan's story. I feel like going forward it might be, but in this episode, I wasn't very impressed with the character. I don't know if it's the direction or performance, but she does not exude menace. The script does. The character does things because the script says do these things, and she does menacing things, but she herself isn't very menacing. There's a scene where she's giving a speech to all these people, of course humans in bathrobes, in Tatooine, and she's telling them like, oh, I'll cut off a hand, just to show I mean business and all that stuff. And she does it, and the moment just sort of moves on, and there's zero suspense, there's zero impact to it. It just she comes across as being from another show entirely. Her character sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. Everyone else is playing parts in a Star Wars story, and she seems like a person that came onto the set and sort of said, "Oh, I'll just sleepwalk right through this scene." I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. It just didn't come across as being impactful or exuding the menace that the character seems to need to have for the story to work. So anyways, all of that sounds intensely negative, but you know what? Like, Jimmy Smits is cool in this. There are some kidnapping characters that are awesome. One guy just effortlessly exudes menace, so take a cue from that guy, perhaps. The person playing Revan, I can't remember her name. But yeah, all in all, this is okay. This comes across like the previous Boba Fett show, and that not as bad as that was, because that was meandering, and we don't know if this show is going to do that yet. But Boba Fett, a Book of Boba Fett, seemed like just Star Wars content, just cynically made content. Put the Star Wars label on it and move on, and you're providing Star Wars content. And this first episode seemed like that for Star Wars, even though it should be bigger than that, because it's Ewan McGregor reprising his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and later on Hayden Christensen somehow playing Darth Vader. I still don't know how they're going to do that. But anyhow, it's okay. It's just okay. I'll watch the next episode. I'll see how it goes. But this shouldn't be just okay. It should be awesome. And maybe your impression of it will be different. Anyhow, that's it for now.